Patra, 16 countries, multiple journalism organizations working on the story together. Your government is suggesting that it happened because of the fact that the monsoon session was starting. Now, is that not too much of a global coincidence? The same story is breaking in France, in Europe, it's breaking in Belgium, it's breaking in the United States, and somehow it's breaking because they want to obstruct the monsoon session. So is the government losing the larger global picture which needs to be considered? And you mentioned may, could or might. In the way that the story is framed, they could just be careful so that they don't get sued in a court of law. That's just the way that they've structured the story. 10 phones were forensically examined in India. In that examination, it has emerged that there was tampering with the phones, that these phones were infected by the surveillance software. Is that not reason enough to consider a larger probe? Dr. Patra.
So first and foremost, Rahul, I was just about to complete when in fact you went to Supriya, and I believe I'll just complete it by saying, well, as far as the government's role is concerned, the government has been categorical, both in 2019 when WhatsApp issue had cropped up as far as Pegasus is concerned, and yesterday, day before yesterday I mean to say, when this whole issue came up, the government was categorical in denying that the government had nothing to do with any kind of snooping as far as the software Pegasus is concerned, because there are some SOPs, standard operating procedures laid down legally through the Indian Telegraph Act as well as to the IT laws 2000, and if at all we have to intercept any phone calls, etc., that can be done legally. We did not have to go through an illegal means. That was the reply.
No, but there isn't clarity at this moment on whether these phones were tapped legally or not. So was Rahul Gandhi, Abhishek Banerjee, Prashant Kishore put under surveillance? Was there authorization? Was there no authorization? That's not known at this time, Dr. Patra.
I'll reply to that. And I was concluding by saying that still, despite all this, if there's some amount of confusion as far as the opposition is concerned, India is a robust democratic country. Please discuss it on the floor of the parliament rather than creating ruckus and going to the streets. Before hitting the streets, please discuss it with the lawmakers of the country. Let the people of this country see what you put forth on the floor of the parliament, what the government answers on the floor of the parliament. No one can snatch away your right. So I believe, rather than debating on television channels, of course,
now that's an important point Dr. Sambit Patra makes, Supriya, that let there be a debate in Parliament. Your leaders, speakers can put forth the opposition's perspective, the government can put forth its defense. In Parliament, you typically find it difficult to lie, or at least that's the hope and assumption. Therefore, you can pin them down in Parliament rather than disrupting Parliament and not allowing legislative actions to go through.
You want to know what do they do in Parliament? The former IT Minister Ravi Shankar Prasad, who's also the party's chief spokesperson, yesterday said 45 countries are doing it. Why talk about India alone? So he's admitting that the Indian government has done it. There is only one moot question. Did you or did you not use Pegasus? Why is the government not giving a categorical yes or a no? Ravi Shankar Prasad in the floor of the House, as then IT Minister, had said unauthorized surveillance had not happened, hinting that authorized surveillance had happened. Yesterday, the minister, poor man, Ashwini Vaishnav, while he was reading, little realized that he was under surveillance himself and actually refused to lay the paper in the House because that paper would be circulated to members. He walked away with the paper. He knows what that means. They did not even lay that paper down. My simple thing is, the kind of instances that we have seen amount to treason, amount to violation of the Official Secrets Act, compromise national security. Why is the government shying away from a probe? Let there be a Supreme Court monitored probe, and because there is electoral democracy that has been heard.
No, but why don't you debate this in Parliament, Supriya?
Why is the government
Supriya, why don't you debate this in Parliament, and why don't your speakers raise this issue when Parliament is functioning rather than disrupting Parliament?
Absolutely, 200%, 200% we want to debate it in Parliament, but look at what happened. They made a suo moto statement. They did not even lay the paper in the floor of the House.
Sambit Patra, there's a very simple question that's being asked by every single person watching at this time, and the question is this.
Pegasus, yes.
Does your government use the Pegasus software? Did we purchase this from the Israeli company NSO? If so, when? If not, is that something that you want to say on record? The government seems to be giving an answer to suggest that whatever surveillance happened on authorization without answering clearly the fundamental question about whether this software was used or not, Dr. Patra.
See, first and foremost, the government has been categorical, quite clear that this software, that is Pegasus, has not been used for snooping, hacking, etc. for any person in India by Government of India. This was there on paper, black and white, day before yesterday, the press release of the government. It was circulated throughout. No. I did not shout anywhere. Just let's not intervene. Let's not intervene. So it is there. Pegasus has not been used to snoop. And as far as authorized, unauthorized is concerned, the government in its reply, and Mr. Ashwini Vaishnav also has been categorical in stating that there are laid down norms, standard operating procedures under the Indian Telegraphic Act as well as the IT Act 2000, and the sections also were mentioned that if we have to interpret anyone, these are the laws according to which legally we would be interpreting. Of course, not through any software or malwares. This is what the government has categorically mentioned. Okay. As far as the moot question that you asked is concerned, Rahul, the moot question is, did the government use Pegasus to snoop? No, it did not use Pegasus to snoop.
Okay, you're saying, did the government use Pegasus? Question mark. Do you want to answer that piece also? Just 1 second. Did the government use Pegasus? Question mark. Because the second part is whether it's authorized or unauthorized. But the first part is, did we use the software and do we acknowledge having used the software? Do you want to answer that, Dr. Patra?
See, as far as I am concerned, I am the spokesperson of the party. You would be aware of the fact that the government would not be reporting to me as to what it buys and it does not. So, of course, whatever is in public domain, I would be able to reply to that. And in public domain, it is mentioned by the government that they have not used this malware software called Pegasus to, in fact, spy on anyone.
Okay, Mishi.